Bună dimineața și bun găsit la BeEU. Sunt Sabina Iosub și vă invit să rămâneți alături de mine în următoarea jumătate de oră. Today here with me in the European Parliament in Strasbourg is Știri Weimers. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thanks for having me.
You're representing Sweden at the European level and you are also Vice President at the ECR group. What are your priorities for this mandate?
Well, we need a realist climate policy that actually takes into account jobs and economic growth. And the last 5 years were quite heavily influenced by the Green movement. And I think the new majority here, EPP, ECR, and other groups can shape a much more competitive policy than we had during the last 5 years. Migration policy is another very important subject. Europe is actually going through a migration crisis, and the many member states are overwhelmed. So the new commission needs to figure out how to stem migration flows, illegal migrations, secure the border, finally releasing EU funds for the building of walls, which is now stopped, and also to safeguard that power is not transferred and centralized to Brussels will be an important challenge during the next 5 years when some in this House would want treaty changes.
Are you agreeing an idea of treaty change?
Well, if treaty change means making the European Union more efficient, I would be in favor. But I know that centralist forces will use such an opportunity to move powers, maybe over taxation, maybe over the EU budget, to Brussels and enable the European Union to grow as much as the EU bureaucracy wants. And that needs to be stopped.
Have you ever been to Romania?
I have.
In which area? What have you seen from my country?
Well, mostly the capital area. I have a good friend who's doing business and very involved with people in Cluj, for instance, and he recommended me to go there. So it's part of my future plans to, take the family on a vacation in Romania, actually, but then it has to be a little less hot than 42 degrees.
yeah, it should be. It should be. Should we put on the world's map a destination called Europe, let's say, in order to visit Sweden? I've never been to Sweden, but I want to. I really want to. In order for the Swedish people to come to visit Romania, all to go to Spain, or to attract more and more from non-Europeans to our region?
Well, I definitely think that we should support each other, visit each other. There is a lot of things to see in our beautiful Europe. And I recommend you to come to Sweden. Clean air, clean nature, and accessible nature. If you go out in a forest in Sweden, you're free to walk basically wherever you want, because that's the law of the land in Sweden, as long as you don't break anything. You can even stay one night in a tent out in the forest and, look for a moose, or hopefully not a wolf, but a moose. So instead of going outside of Europe, all of the time, we should definitely look to what our continent has to offer. And I'm sure if Swedes would know more about Romania, a lot more people would go.
We have also a lot of churches, and we've seen in some part of the Europe that religious tourism is a very good idea. Are you in favor of such a thing?
Well, I hope to make a pilgrimage one day, and I have good friends who go to Chartres in France, for instance, and of course also to Spain. And Romania is, of course, a country which for Protestants and Catholics a little less known. So, but the Orthodox imagery and the Orthodox churches, they offer such beauty and such inspiration that I do hope that more people will come and see them.
Tell me one thing, what are you expecting from this mandate? What's your aim? What's your goal?
Well,
your personal goal.
My aim is to be part of a new center-right majority in this House. During the last 5 years, we had the most left-leaning majority that the European Parliament ever had. Now we have the opportunity to actually work together on the center-right to increase competition, to cut red tape, strengthen our industry, or rather, stop the deindustrialization of Europe, to promote nuclear energy and not only solar and wind, because those are intermittent energy resources. This is an opportunity that Europe cannot afford to waste because, mind you, we are, a rich continent compared with several other continents, but the gap in wealth between the United States and Europe will be wider in 2035 than the wealth gap between Europe and India. So we need to shape up. We need to understand that we cannot manage decline. We need to go from a situation where the US innovates, China copies, and Europe regulates. We need to be the innovators.
Thank you so much for your presence. Hope to